Welcome to the Carbon Circle, the podcast where we explore sustainability, climate action, and the leaders reshaping India's approach to corporate responsibility. I'm your host, Roshan Rai, founder and CEO of Carbon Mandal, and we are back with a conversation that cuts into the heart of how businesses can drive real, measurable impact. Today, we are speaking with Priti Kibe, Head of Corporate Responsibility and Sustainability at Forbes Marshall, a leader who has spent 30 years in bridging the gap between businesses and social impact. Preeti's journey is uniquely Indian. She has started her career in pharma, moved into social development with Dr. Reddy's Foundation, and has spent the last decade at Forbes Marshall building some of India's most compelling sustainability initiatives. She holds a sustainability leadership certificate from Cambridge, and she is one of the driving force behind Project Parivartan, an initiative that has transformed ESG practices across 100 plus supply chain partners and reaching thousands of informal workers and migrant communities. In this conversation, we explore five critical dimensions of modern corporate responsibility, beginning with Preeti's journey from pharma to purpose, how companies can build resilience for India's invisible workforce, the role of nature based solution in manufacturing and what it takes to lead sustainability in a family business, and how sustainability expertise is becoming the next frontier for consulting opportunities. If you have wondered how businesses can move beyond compliance to create genuine shared value, especially for communities most vulnerable to climate change, this conversation is for you. Let's dive in. So, welcome to another episode of the Carbon Circle, where we explore stories shaping the sustainable Bharat. Today, we dive into yet another interesting topic, which is sustainability at the crossroads, the new frontier of corporate responsibility. We will try looking into navigating climate challenges and business transformation through social innovation. And with us today, we have the head of corporate sustainability from Forbes Marshall, Priti Kibe, and she'll be our guest who will throw her experience, her insights into various topics. And today we are covering around five subtopics. So the first topic that we'll cover is from pharma to steam engineering. That is a journey of Priti Kibe herself. And post that, we'll move to the informal workers, migration and vulnerability, the challenges faced by India's informal workers, and how corporate action can build resilience in vulnerable communities. We'll look at that. And then we move on to the third topic for today, which is nature-based solutions, where industry meets ecology. We will try looking at integrating natural processes within industrial operations so that it helps businesses mitigate climate risk. And then we move to the fourth topic for today, which is thought leadership in family business, from legacy to leading edge. How third generation leadership at Forbes Marshall is redefining sustainability as a core business value and multi-generational purpose. And to sum it all up, we will end the entire conversation with the last topic, which is from project success to consulting potential, scaling shared value in sustainability. We will look at areas where us as a company, Carbon Mandal, has provided certain services to Forbes Marshall. So we'll look at how Forbes Marshall is taking this up and how they intend to move forward with the sustainability journey. So with that, we will directly jump to the first topic for today, which is looking at Preeti's journey. So Preeti, you spent your early career in pharmaceutical marketing at Cipla, then moved to social development with Dr. Reddy's Foundation. What was your turning point that made you realize sustainability was your true calling?
I think it was not one big moment or a big, realization that I want to go into this field. It was more like a series of small realizations, experiences. In pharma, we all know how a good product can change someone's life, health-wise, medically, the curing, how it can cure illnesses. But when I moved to the development sector, I began to see how systems and communities shape those lives. So I think that was one of, like I said, small realizations. These were the realizations. Even in pharma, when we were launching new products for HIV and cancer, we interacted a lot with the community. So that is where I felt that maybe this is something I want to explore. I would like to do this more, actually impact at the people's level can be seen. So that is when it struck me that real impact happens when business goals and social good comes together.
Right.
Because that is where the profitability for social good also is there. Like we say, good business is successful business,
Right.
which means for the communities. So sustainability became that bridge for me, a way to bring thinking, the business thinking and empathy into the same conversation. And once I found this space, I wanted to stay there. So when I moved to Forbes Marshall around 10 years ago, the leadership also realized, understood my passion for this domain and encouraged me to do some courses, the Cambridge leadership course, a few other courses, which will give me more insights into this domain. So I think I really feel that once I found this space, this is where I wanted to stay.
Awesome. So, I mean, one clear reason for you to shift is your interaction with the communities. Can you share some experiences where you had a very deep sort of exploration that happened, or you felt that this is where I want to head?
I think it was again not one experience as such, Roshan. See, I will just delve into again feel good and do good.
Hmm.
Feel good is doing something for your own self, and for that moment, you give food to the hungry, you feel good, right?
Right.
But do good is actually what you're doing. It is like the old adage they say, if you give fish to a person, he eats for a day, and if you teach him to fish, he eats for his life. So, no, this
Correct.
is what the difference is
Hmm.
exactly. And this is what I wanted to explore. And I had many such experiences on the way. I feel initially I was that feel good person. I
Hmm.
would enjoy doing the camps through CIPLA to different communities. I would enjoy interacting with the people. But those days, CSR was not what it is now, right? So it was just more of a feel good, and do good was there, of course, with many companies. But then, actually, when you realize that what impact you're making to that person on the ground is
Hmm.
where I feel the realization hit. And this is where these studies, for a simple example, when you actually in Dr. Reddy's foundation, when I joined, and I was very clear that I wanted to join an NGO first
Hmm.
because I do not have any, um, you know, education in as an MSW or something. I wanted to actually get the experience from the ground.
Right.
So, being from a business, I felt I should join an NGO first to understand the grassroots realities, if I may call that. So when I was traveling, going to the communities, understanding where they live, how they live, what are the challenges they are facing. Dr. Reddy's Foundation project was one of those where the livelihood, it was more of a livelihood project where 10th and 12th pass students from
Hmm.
the communities were trained for 3 months and given jobs. So this
Okay.
is where I felt my experience helped, In the community, of course, I had a MSW colleague who would help me, who will teach me the ropes of mobilization and actually how you look at a person who needs to come to the center to do this course. But my pharma experience, my marketing experience also helped me that I created a basket of employers in advance.
Amazing.
We had the employers come to the center for a campus. So when you see these people today, even today, I meet people, I have them on my Facebook who write to me. Suddenly, one experience I would like to share is I was traveling in a rickshaw and one of these guys asked me in Marathi that, Madam, you were running labs, right? That's the Livelihood Advancement Business School project. I
Uh-huh.
said, huh, how come you know me? Are I was your student, second batch.
Arey wow. How many years
And
back
I
was
said,
this?
oh, this was 2006 we started
Okay.
and we had great 6 years. I mean, it was supported by industry and Dr. Reddy's Foundation was the NGO.
Hmm.
But those experiences, and one of the girls who was in the first batch, she did her hospitality course. Today she's married, got kid, and she's running her own catering business, and she's earning very well in that. So she is in touch with me. So many of these incidences where you feel, and we had a good hit rate of around 80% placement, 80 to 90% placement. Of course, how many of them stayed in that same job, we're not sure.
Yeah.
But I'll also say that just recently I met up with my team, the facilitators of our program, and
Uh-huh.
we had a cup of coffee, and they all are doing well in their own fields also. So it was really good revisiting and seeing what people are doing.
Yeah.
And apparently, they are in touch with a few of our students. So
That's
we don't
amazing.
call them beneficiaries, we call them stakeholders. That's a term I learned at Forbes Marshall also because they're equal stakeholders with us. They're not
Right.
benefiting from what we are doing. So
Right.
these
So it is.
experiences really help you a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's really. I would believe it is very gratifying as well to learn
Yes,
the kind of impact the work has created in the society around. And this is perhaps
yes,
the first time that we have somebody. I mean, when we talk about sustainability, we talk about the ESG, the triple P bottom line as well. And it's the first time we have somebody who's talking on the social side of things. So that's for me also very interesting. I think I'll grill you with a few more questions. But
sure.
Preeti. You mentioned that you joined Forbes Marshall 10 years before. So I believe it is 2015 that you joined Forbes Marshall.
Yes.
So what was it about the company's culture or the vision that convinced you this was where you could make the most impact?
So I'll go up a little back in 2005-6, when the Dr. Reddy's Foundation project started. The first person I met, first two people, I won't say first two, the two people I met was Rati Forbes and Meher Padamji. They
Mm-hmm.
had interviewed me and they were mentors of this project, and through CI they were supporting this project. So that is the time I came to know what these thought leaders also think of CSR.
Right.
So I was very, I mean, I'm very grateful to be mentored by them throughout my career. And Forbes Marshall, I feel with Forbes Marshall, I've come a full circle because I started my social development sector with Forbes Marshall as a funding partner, but today I'm working with them. And the reason I joined Forbes Marshall, like you rightly said, it was the culture. Forbes Marshall, from day one, even when I was in the field, Dr. Reddy's Foundation, I felt genuine that Forbes Marshall genuinely believes that business and community should grow together. It's not a tagline for them. It is how the people in the organization think and work. And
Right.
also because they're in the energy and steam engineering, the link between efficiency and sustainability, like you said, is very real. So when you
Mm.
help a customer save energy or water, you are improving their bottom line and reducing their emissions. That alignment between purpose and performance, not only at the customer business level, but also at the community level, is what really inspired me. So today we have women who've been associated with us for more than so many years. 3-4 decades they have been associated with us. We meet them day in and day out when they visit the center. So this culture of Forbes Marshall of giving back to the communities, but not as a, like I said, not beneficiary, or it's a stakeholder relationship. So actually thinking how communities can grow along with the business is what,
Yeah.
even when we started our operations in Chakan, our greenfield, the first thought was the communities. Our team was on the ground, looking at the villages around, doing a need assessment, finding out what the communities need. So I think
Right.
this was the reason I felt Forbes Marshall was the
The right
company
fit.
to be the
Yeah.
right fit.
Just for the listeners, because I know when you mentioned Rati Forbes, but if I could give a little more background, because Rati Forbes was one of your early mentors. So who is she? What is the kind of responsibility that she heads at Forbes Marshall? Just to give context to the
So
listeners.
yeah, so she is a director at Forbes Marshall, and of course she's part of the family, Forbes family, and CSR and the Forbes Foundation is what she looks after along with her own other personal philanthropies and being on board of different organizations, social development sector. I believe a real thought leader in this domain, who does things with heart and brain,
Right.
because it doesn't make sense to do only with heart. You should have your brain also. Looking at what
Absolutely.
impact we are doing, one of the things which is slightly digressing is resilience of the social development sectors, which I'll be also touching upon, is what comes to mind. Like we can keep on doing things, we can donate, we can give funds, we can support projects, but how do we build the resilience of the social development sector itself?
Hmm.
Is the thought that is discussed in the Forbes.
So looking back at your 30-year career spanning from pharma, social development, and now a corporate sustainability, what is that one lesson that remained constant across all these domains? Is there, if there is one?
Yeah, I think one lesson which I've been speaking is people.
Hmm.
I mean, for me, it always comes back to people. So whether it is a patient when I was in pharma, a factory worker, or an engineer, the real change actually begins when people feel and seen and included. That is what, even when you talk of community or even otherwise, people need to feel seen and included.
Right.
Data and technology, of course, they matter. Absolutely, they are, I would say, they critical. But trust and empathy is what makes them work.
Hmm.
So this line between the bridge between these two is what is clicking. And if I've learned one thing, that sustainability is not only about systems, it is
Right.
about relationships and a shared belief that we
Hmm.
can build something together.
Hmm.
So this is a 30-year career. This is what I really learned. In pharma, it was business. It was the end target. Have you achieved certain targets? But then people also mattered there,
Yeah.
because the products which the pharma company and like a company like Cipla
Hmm.
produce are also at the end of the day going to the people. The
Absolutely.
cancer, the the main innovations what they've done in cancer and HIV during those days
Hmm.
were really path-breaking.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it would be people at the center of everything that you do.
Yes.
Absolutely. Very interesting. So Preeti, thank you so much for giving us sort of a run through your 30 years of your career, where you have looked at multiple sectors from pharma to social development to now steam engineering. So now we'll move to the second topic for today, which is the informal workers, migration and vulnerability, because you said people are at the core of everything that you do, right? So Preeti, India's informal workforce makes up to about 85% of our economy. Yet they often remain invisible in the sustainability conversations. So, can you help our listeners understand who these workers are and why climate change hits them the hardest?
Yeah. I think also, actually, if you see, I would go a little back when we started working Chakan
Hmm.
and we were working in the communities. Now that I've transitioned to sustainability, but when we were working in the communities, we actually the village to migrants ratio was villagers were maybe 85%, migrants were maybe 15%. But if you
Okay.
go today, it is 5% villagers and 95% migrants
Oh,
in some villages, especially near the industry.
have they
So
moved
near
out?
the industrial, no, the villagers are there. The number of people have increased.
Oh, okay.
So it is like villagers have sold their land and they have now built chawls for migrants to live there.
Hmm.
So now the inflow of migrants and
Have
informal workers
increased.
is very increased in these areas. I think it is now become completely industrialized, these pockets. And like the question you asked is such an important question, because when we talk of informal workers, we are talking of people who actually keep our cities and industries running.
Right.
We saw what happened when COVID hit, right?
Hmm.
People just went back and it was the social aspects were different, of course, but industries had stopped. So construction, may it be construction workers, contract laborers, waste pickers, daily wage earners, they form the backbone of our economy. But most of them don't have formal job contracts, social security, or health benefits. And this is
Right.
what was evident even during COVID. So when climate events like heat waves or floods happen, there's no cushion to fall back on. Number one is why they've moved here is because of lack of jobs at their villages or due to drought or some flood situation there, right? So you move from source to your destination where town where you're working, and many of them already live in high risk area. Now construction workers working in this heat, I think climate is hitting them so hard that we should also look at what we can do as industry to support this. Uh, Look at climate also in terms of the CSR impact, where climate is also a main element where even the informal workers are concerned.
Right.
Now they are living at riverbanks or temporary housing. They might be living in shanties anywhere. So they are the first ones to feel the impact, but they are the last ones to recover. So for them, it is not an abstract future. It is an everyday reality. It's an everyday event. When Khadakwasla waters are released, the riverfront people have actually to move back, right? So many of these shanties are where these informal workers live.
Live.
So climate change is very real for them.
Yeah. So they are the most vulnerable when it comes to climate change, because they get affected the first and perhaps the last to sort of recuperate from that effect as well.
Yes.
So
And
you
access to
also,
health,
sorry.
sorry, and access to healthcare is also not there, no, Roshan?
Correct.
So the adverse effect of climate care on your health is also not there.
Hmm.
And the mental health effects are also very high.
That
There
is
are
less
some
spoken
studies
of.
which say, yeah, in fact, we can have another podcast on the mental health effect with
Yeah.
on climate on migrants with some domain expert, I feel, because
Absolutely.
it's a huge thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. But Preeti, just to dig a little deeper, you highlighted that COVID times, right? So I mean, when I was previously having the conversation, you brought that topic up, like how Forbes Marshall hit, the immigrant workers during that period of COVID. So could you share that experience? How was it? What was the scale like? Did you have to move things?
Yeah, yeah. So I think COVID, like going back, the after effects of COVID are still seen, but COVID brought all of us together also in a way. So
Hmm.
the immediate, like in pharma language, the acute diagnosis, we immediately supported the food needs, the ration needs, the vaccinations. But
Hmm.
what about the long term? why did this happen? Why did the migrant feel, the informal worker I'll call, why did they feel the need to go back? And people were not welcome also to them where they were living. So this is where again the think tank, and like I said, I've been lucky to be part of that, where companies like Forbes Marshall, Thermax, and Dasara got together and came up with this project called Social Compact Initiative, right?
Social
And
compact what?
under social initiative,
Okay,
social
social
compact
compact
initiative.
initiative. Okay.
Yeah. So this was actually thinking of why the migrants went back.
Hmm.
And what was, so it was a basic thing of roti kapda makan, the social security, which he or she was not receiving at their employer's end.
Right.
So for us, resilience building starts with dignity. So what we did was we started with our value chain.
Mm-hmm.
So Forbes Marshall uh, started working on a pilot under the Social Compact Initiative with a few of our supply chain partners. And what does it mean? What are they? What are the benefits they are giving? What are these? What is the social security given to their contractual or informal workers is what we actually looked at. And when this with Dasra, the process which took on was actually they came up with 6 outcomes. If
Mm-hmm.
these 6 outcomes are realized, if we can work on these 6 outcomes, we give a better agency, better living to these migrants. So
Mm-hmm.
Forbes Marshall actually took up a few outcomes and started working on a pilot. We call it Project Parivartan
Yeah.
with these informal workers, and we thankfully we had the support of our supply chain partners also. So whether they were on our payroll or not, whether it was a daily wage worker, to see whether they have access to safe working conditions, fair wages, identity documents, and healthcare. So, for example, Project Parivartan helps these vendors and contractors formalize their practice
Hmm.
from providing the Provident Fund and ESIC benefits. Now, ESIC has so many benefits, but people, the even the employers are not aware. We also undertook a few awareness sessions on ESIC. We partnered with like-minded NGOs like Ajivika Bureau and Safe in India for this process, and giving them understanding what the benefits are. Otherwise, being good employers, if a worker is injured, they just take them to the nearby doctor and get him cured. But this is not the thing to do. Here, ESIC benefits are also given to his family. So
Right.
this is what we help them, and it is also about the voice. So on the one part is working with the employers, and why should the employer do this? So we've also worked on improving their productivity. We have linked them to certain schemes, MSME schemes of the government.
Okay.
We are in, we have formed a team at our end who is in touch with our supply chain partners every time. And today I believe over 150 supply chain partners are in the project Parivartan, and they'll only increase. So it is like I said, one is working actually at our supply chain partner end, but also about their voice, the workers' voice,
Right.
helping workers understand their rights and creating spaces where they can be heard. So Forbes Marshall believes that resilience is not physical or economic; it is also social and emotional. It is
Right.
about people moving from vulnerability to agency, building their agency. So with this, here we partnered with a couple of NGOs to help them do this. So we have set up a worker facilitation center in
Mm-hmm.
Chakan
Mm-hmm.
with Ajivika Bureau, and TACO is our partner for that. So we set it up in September 2021. And today it's in the fourth year. We are in WFC 2.0. We are also conducting some research on Pune WFCs, how it has impacted migrant worker facilitation centers with Work Free and Fair Foundation, which is an arm of Ajivika Bureau. But having said that, now WFC 2.0 will also focus on women migrants, the
Right.
other part. Now, WFC initially, when we started that project, it focused entirely on migrants, creating awareness about what they are entitled to. Do they have a PF? Do they have a ESIC? Are they aware of what government schemes are there, not only for them, even for their children?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where actually, and government came up with a slew of schemes during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So giving them access to those schemes is also so important. Otherwise, it doesn't reach them at all. So worker facilitation centers have helped do that. And Ajivika Bureau also has a labor line with the government.
Mm-hmm.
And through the labor line, our worker facilitation center has also been able to leverage wage loss.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're changing jobs, if you're having some problem with wages, the earlier contractor has not paid the wage. So through legal means, through the legal helpline, It is not about activism. It is about co-solutioning and co-designing with
Right.
the community and the businesses we work with. Otherwise, it's very easy to go with the flag and do the active. I wouldn't say easy, but activism won't help in this.
Correct.
So this is where we were very clear that it has to be a co-solutioning, co-designing process where both will benefit, the businesses as well as the workers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So if I mean the organization only work if the laborers are in a good state of mind, happy, and wanting to contribute to the organization building. So
Yes.
it is I think paramount. I mean it's significant that we take care of their needs and requirements, and as you rightly mentioned, dignity being one of them, right? Providing
Mm.
them with that is definitely necessary. But what are the few? I mean, when you said under Project Parivartan, right now there are 150 supply chain partners who are a part of it right now. Is there an audit that happens so that you monitor these KPIs or certain indicators, or how do you monitor this?
So these are being monitored. So actually, there is a baseline which was done earlier, and it's a regular monitoring. There is a dashboard created
Hmm.
where the social as well as these business parameters are monitored. Because, like I said, it has to be knitted with the business agendas.
Right.
So how much the productivity is increased, whether on time delivery, first time delivery, the business parameters, how a happy workforce is helping you,
Hmm.
and actually how many workers have you registered under ESIC? Are you giving them pehchan cards? What are the cases? So for ESIC, we partnered, like I said, with Safe in India, an NGO who is the domain expert. And they have helped us a lot. Actually, they have a center at Mohan Nagar in Pimpri, which we supported initially. But now they also help us reach out, create outreach activities at our vendors.
Right.
And
Right.
and then we've also have a team which works for Parivar.
Okay. Okay. Specifically talking about the healthcare part. So I believe this is related to insurance. So is it about Ayushman Bharat? I mean, schemes like that is
No,
going
no, no.
provided? No, not that.
So it is more about ESIC, the Employee
Okay.
States Insurance scheme, which is
Schemes.
there provided by the government,
Hmm.
where any worker who earns less than 21,000 is eligible for EST.
Hmm.
So they are in ESIC empaneled hospitals. There is enough, like I said, the only challenge is that they're not aware of the benefits of ESIC.
Right.
So this is actually where they have a disability benefit. So I'll share one case study where one worker came to our worker facilitation center at Chakan.
Hmm.
He was referred by someone from Chakan, but he was working somewhere in Bhosri, Pimpri Chinchwad. So he had lost his fingers under
Hmm.
in the auto press accident, and he was not. He was the usual small scale industry. He was registered for ESIC post the accident. So there were some challenges on that, and that is where our Worker Facilitation Center and Safe in India team work together to see that he at least got a disability certificate and he gets a disability pension. He
After.
was 19 years old, Roshan, just
Hmm.
19.
Entire life
And
ahead.
then, yeah, and the challenge with these workers also is they change their phone numbers very often. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So, tracking them also becomes difficult in these. Mm.
So now we'll move to the a different topic, which is nature-based solutions, as also known as NBS, where industry
Mm.
meets ecology. So for somebody who's listening to this podcast, Preeti, how would you explain nature-based solution?
Um, I think a lot has been said and written about nature-based solutions now. But at its heart, I think a nature-based solution or NBS, what they call, means working with nature instead of against it.
Right.
So, take something as simple as rainwater harvesting.
Hmm.
So, companies may be doing it or, as part of their ESG. Nowadays, societies are also doing it. Small houses, independent houses are also doing it. Or restoring a wetland. They're talking of Godrej does a lot of mangrove restoration
Hmm.
or any industrial site. These systems naturally recharge the groundwater. They help reduce the flooding and even help cool the surrounding areas. All the while while supporting biodiversity. So this is, I think, sometimes the most effective technologies have existed for millions of years. We just need to learn to how to integrate them intelligently.
Yeah.
So what kind of trees? There are a lot of tree plantation activities going on as CSR. But are you planting native trees or are you bringing in some trees which
Some
are
foreign
not
trees
going
there.
to matter? So is it a checkbox or are you doing it as per this? We
Yeah,
know of good companies who have biodiversity as their main CSR agenda, and they are doing great work, transforming barren lands into forest. But I would say only caution is, are we doing it as per what the native land was, or are we
yeah,
bringing in something else from outside?
yeah.
Is what is debatable. I mean, I'm not an expert in NBS, but this is something what we need to do.
Absolutely. I mean, as I rightly said, nature-based solution is learning from the nature to help fix the climate change problem that we today have, right? And one interesting example that I found was, I think it was somewhere in the US region, the one solution that they found for forest fires, because forest fire, when it begins, it kind of moves from one place to other. So they introduced goats in the region, so that the herbivorous animals, I think, where the counts were reducing. So as a result, the grass in between the trees were growing much faster. So introducing
Mm-hmm.
herbivorous animals in that region, so they would eat up on the tiny
Tiny grass.
plants, so that the forest fire, I mean, it would not spread as fast, right? So that's also something that relates to nature
Mm.
based solution. But technically today, talking about nature based solution is one such aspects which is spoken highly about when it comes to carbon credits, right?
Yes.
Where plantation rice, mangrove, is one such thing, biocharing, rainwater harvesting. So there are multiple options that is today available. My question to you next is this, right? What roles do policy frameworks or external partnerships play in scaling NBS in India's fast moving manufacturing sector today?
They play a huge role, Roshan. No single company can do it alone.
Yeah.
Even a huge company will have to have partners. And strong policy frameworks are needed.
Hmm.
Like you rightly mentioned, the biodiversity credits, watershed management, or green infrastructure. You have to create an enabling environment for the industry also. But what I feel actually accelerates the progress is partnerships
Hmm.
with the government, with NGOs, local communities, and research institutions. You need a domain expert for this, right? To understand very technically also what is the way to go about, what is the baseline, what are you planning to improve, how
Correct.
is it impacting the overall ecosystem. So I feel this should help, and collaborations with environmental experts and local governments always help in industrial planning with ecological priorities. So it is not just about compliance, but I think actually co-creating value for both nature and business. This
Hmm.
is where even the biodiversity projects which are coming in will work towards that.
Yeah, but are there certain policies that you could perhaps name, like one such, for example, is BRSR reporting framework today, which has been
Yes.
mandated for those companies who are a part of SEBI or who are listed in the stock exchange.
Yes.
Are there any Maharashtra straight, like from Pollution Control Board or anything of the format, which kind of pushes companies to take this up? Is there anything like that?
I'm not sure about this. Like I said, I'm not an expert in NBS, Roshan.
Okay.
But I would say one of the experience which I had we had was Forbes Marshall, when we started our operations in where we are in Chakan, the village, we tried to integrate a waste management system,
Hmm.
and through CSR. But initially we tried to do it as at source. So segregating waste as simple as segregating waste at source. So we managed to do that at a little level. But again, like I said, the migrant population is increasing. Single migrants are more. So integrated waste management system had to be brought in. We had to write the program, tweak the program,
Hmm.
and bring in an integrated waste management system in the area where they were dumping waste. So
Right.
this is where the government policies helped us. The NGO Inora with whom we work, they helped us. And actually, 1.5 tons of wet waste was vermicomposted every single day in that 7 weeks
Every
what were
single
happening
day.
every single day.
Okay.
When we exited the project, we handed the project over to the Gram Panchayat and exited it after 6 years.
Hmm.
1.5 tons, and we had set up a collection system. We had set up a recycling system. So 19 types of dry waste were recycled,
Hmm.
scrap vendors, and then the income to the Gram Panchayat could come from that also.
Right.
But having said that, I feel also the mindset change has to happen. Because if you look at this, we also calculated the carbon sequestration from this project as an afterthought. It was never with that intention that we had gone into it. It was purely how we didn't want the village where we are to become a waste dump, like we
Dump,
are
yeah.
seeing in many industrial expansions. But uh, carbon sequestration was really very good from this
Hmm.
1.5 tons of. Informally, we've done it, and we also created an end-line report on this through News Socia. So we had a baseline and an end line, and results were very remarkable. They were remarkable. But this is again a one-time project, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this type of projects need willingness also, not only from the industry support but also from the system,
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
gram
Absolutely.
panchayat, the others, the land. The land has different zonings. They have different rules. So this is where I feel the government and the other they should come up with certain policies which will help each village look at their own way.
Absolutely.
So this,
Absolutely.
I always say this is an NBS for me,
Hmm.
nature-based solution provider, because we are vermicomposting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The waste, and we are using nature. We are not using anything. So, but these are the projects I think actually people should also look at. I've heard of a few projects. Some companies are doing net zero for village.
Yeah.
Using
Mm-hmm.
smokeless chula, looking at tree plantations, the native tree plantations. So all these will be good projects which will help the NBS journey. So,
Absolutely. I mean, it's well put, because when you say nature-based solution, it could be anything. And one nature-based solution which might have been implemented in one part of the country need not necessarily be implemented in the other. It might not be the best solution either, right?
yeah.
So a very scientific approach is also necessary. I think you pointed out, because planting the wrong trees in the wrong region will cause more harm than good. That's
Hmm.
also there. That's also there. So, Preeti, I mean, if a company were to start with a pilot, right, into this NBS as an option to improve the environment around, what would you recommend, or what are the maybe the first few steps they could consider taking?
I think start with your land and water footprint. That is the
Hmm.
easiest within your own company. What is your land and water footprint? Just walk to your site and observe the flow of water, how your green cover is managed, if there is a green cover, where heat builds up, where are the heat spots. Nature will actually show you where to begin. You will come to know when you work in those areas itself. Even small interventions, I always feel we begin small. Even in our organization, we start with small changes and then they culminate into larger
Yeah, projects.
impact.
Hmm.
Yeah, so small interventions like planting native species, restoring your drainage system. When you take up or some, you look at your drainage, where is your water leakage is happening. This is
Right.
what you should do. Or set up micro wetlands near your area if it is needed.
Hmm.
Not just because it is going to give you carbon credits, but if your area, if your location needs it. So this can bring measurable benefits in a single season. And
Yeah.
like I said, the key is to start small but think systematically.
Hmm.
And once people see that the NBS approaches actually improve this resilience and efficiency, the momentum will build naturally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
small projects at a time, building into larger projects, this will really help.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Preeti, one thing that has stood out for me in the entire conversation so far is your love towards Forbes Marshall. I think it's just clearly very evident, right? So that gives me a segue to the next topic, which is the thought leadership of family businesses. And my first question under this topic is: Forbes Marshall stands out at the intersection of tradition and innovation very clearly. So, what steps have you seen the family take to protect their core values while evolving towards sustainability first business model?
So like I said earlier also, what is really special about Forbes Marshall is how deeply its values are lived and
Hmm.
not just stated. I think it is very important to have your values in and the leadership support for whatever projects or whatever. Like I was also supported by the leadership to encouraged by the leadership to do something in sustainability, right?
Hmm.
So, and right from the time we started our first factory in Kasarwadi, way back, we are over 75 years now, but
Yeah.
way back, the family has always believed that businesses and communities must grow together. That philosophy hasn't changed at all. What is
Hmm.
changed is how it is expressed. Now, today, sustainability is not seen as a separate agenda, but it is a natural extension of that legacy. What we are doing with customers is naturally what we are doing internally also, right? So, for example, whatever investments we are making in cleaner technologies and social development projects, they'll all come from the same belief system that long term success is built on shared well being. I've always alluded to this shared code designing, co solution. So,
Hmm.
that is a very important term for us, shared. So, while the tools and languages have evolved, no, Roshan, the heart of business in Forbes Marshall, integrity, empathy, and inclusivity will always remain constant.
Right. So that the Intel core values will remain the same. How you communicate it to the outside world might have changed today. That's the essence of
That's
what I
it.
just
Yeah.
told you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But when I speak to industry leaders today, one common challenge that they always talk about is the inability for them to communicate the need for sustainability to the senior management out there, and I feel that is prevalent throughout because there is a different POV or the point of view for each stakeholder within the business. So as a head of corporate sustainability, what are those few barriers you have faced while pitching an idea to the senior manager, or if you have ever faced one?
I wouldn't call it barriers, Roshan, because, like I said, we always get we are freedom to express
Hmm.
and talk about what is needed. But the perception, like it is many a time, sustainability is seen to be nice to have rather than a must do, right?
Correct.
Not as a compliance.
Hmm.
So actually, when we went back uh, a few years ago, Family Business Network, we being part of the Family Business Network, we had to share our data with the FPN. And actually, I came to know that we have everything. What we talk of sustainability, the data is there. We just
Hmm.
need to put it in the proper framework.
Right.
And this is what the proposed we discussed with the senior management, and senior management has been very cooperative. As you are also aware, we've done a few projects with you also.
Yeah.
But what shifted the needle was data and demonstration. Actually, whatever data we have, and once we could show that this is where the cost can be lowered, or water recycling, what are the impacts of it, smaller impacts of smaller changes leading to larger impacts, I would say.
Hmm.
I think these were not just environmental wins, they were business wins. And Forbes Marshall has always been into sustainability, like I said, through our products for our customers, lowering their carbon footprint, helping them. So it was not difficult for us to envisage the same at our end.
Hmm.
The thing was putting it in the right framework, understanding what we need to do, setting up targets, and trying to achieve those targets. Looking at net zero going ahead is
Right.
what we are looking at. So, and with our JV, so the challenges are there. So it's not only our companies, with our JVs also will be looking at their carbon footprint at Forbes Marshall. So, and leadership openness plays a huge role in this.
Right.
So the family was always willing to listen and to experiment. And uh, that trust gives us, room to grow, maybe from a project to a principle. And today, like I said, even in Family Business Network, um, climate change is an agenda on all companies now.
Hmm.
But actually, how are you looking at it? And
Right.
what steps are you taking is what we are looking at. But like I said, like you said that I love working at Forbes Marshall. I do. And that's because of the values and the leadership openness. It really
Hmm.
plays a huge. So what
So
is doable, what is not doable, very clearly discuss what can be done. So that helps us also plan and set up a framework for the next 5 years or so.
right. My next question, I think you have answered to an extent because you mentioned about openness of the senior leadership. Any which way, I'll put it forward. Maybe you have more to add to it. So for other Indian family businesses aspiring to lead in sustainability, what's the one mindset shift or practical step that made the biggest difference on your journey at Forbes Marshall?
I would say actually start by viewing sustainability not as a cost, but as a continuation of legacy.
Hmm.
Now, family business, when you say family business, Roshan, they already think in generations. They don't think in quarters.
Correct.
So, and sustainability is that, right? And that is the biggest advantage. Once you frame sustainability as protecting what the next generation is going to inherit, the environment, the people, the reputation, the values, it stops becoming a CSR discussion and becomes a core business philosophy. I
Right.
think that is very relevant. And the practical step, like I've always been saying throughout this podcast, start small, start sincerely, pick up one or two focus areas and build it deeply.
Hmm.
I've always seen that authentic impact speaks louder than any other report. And over time, it will become part of the company's DNA. So this is how I feel they when with the family business network, the mindset is already there. We
Yeah.
just have to build it. It's what they're going to do for generations, right?
Yeah. Great,
So
great, great
just build
answer.
it.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
when the very definition of sustainability talks about future generations to come, right, and leaving behind a legacy that can survive a lot longer. I think
Hmm.
that's a very ideal match. And to summarize the entire conversation that we have had in this segment, one is the senior leadership having that openness to listen to new ideas. Start small, then perhaps grow big from there to start with your pilot projects. And the third aspect that you also pointed out is being able to provide some form of a feasibility analysis to the senior leadership to make a decision, right? So that would be a few pointers that I have pointed down or jotted down here. So we will move to the last topic for this very podcast, which is from project success to consulting potential. One question in this entire segment is taken as a testimony. I mean, I want it as a testimonial, so I'm just putting it out there. So Preeti, Carbon Bundle recently wrapped a sustainability project with Forbes Marshall. So, from your perspective as a client, what made this engagement valuable and what outcomes stood out?
I think Roshan, the reason why we also approached you for this project is you were associated with us earlier
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
and so you were the known devil, if I may call that. But more than that, just joke. But more than that, I feel the need, what we needed, and we felt you fit you knew the culture.
hmm,
Why you helped us was you knew what Forbes Marshall was, what our culture is, and what it is. And we started this pilot, the first Chapan carbon footprint, what we did with your organization, and then the product LCAs of our 5 products. I think what stood out along, aside from the technical support and the technical excellence or your capabilities, is the patience. I mean, you were willing to actually wait for certain things. You were willing to talk to individuals to make them understand what is needed from them. I
yeah,
think that is so important because sustainability has to percolate down to the last employee, which is a work in progress for us. But what is expected from him, what data you wanted, why you wanted, and how you brought that person also to board by these discussions, making the our colleague to understand. I think that actually stood out. And regular reports, regular challenges were discussed. We have a core team with you who was
yeah,
interacting with you regularly of different members with different portfolios. So we could also help mitigate those challenges and you brought them up upfront. You didn't wait for the end to say this challenge came and no
yeah,
one did anything or something like that. So I think our regular meetings, regular catch ups, and your updating us regularly about the progress as well as the challenges and barriers you were facing really helped us a lot.
yeah, yeah,
And LCA project, as you're aware, was a difficult project because some legacy products, some supply chain partners,
yeah,
data, all those. I think that was a great learning for our whole team, honestly.
yeah. It was.
And how we are building up, sorry, just to add, how we are building up on that is, Roshan, because of what we learned from what your organization has done, we've brought in a platform. In this is the company whose platform we brought in, and he also customizes as
Hmm,
per the need, So we don't have to buy a huge platform initially. So through that platform, we've done it for the next year. We've done 2 JVs through that platform,
hmm.
and your framework was ready with us. So I think that really helped us. And
Awesome.
going ahead, we plan to do it for all at FM.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sincerely adding to that, it was an absolute pleasure working with the team also. Given that there are so many stakeholders who are involved in this project, right from the purchase to procurement to the R&D, the entire supply chain, multiple vendors, perhaps few vendors were like legacy vendors itself. They're working for a long time, and yeah, it was of course challenging to retrieve data, but I think the team at Forbes Marshall has been very supportive to be able to retrieve data, because patients from our end is one thing, but the team also has to be patient with us to be able to provide us the data. So I mean, I kind
What
of
I
resonate.
always say what I always say, Roshan, is that on different forums or panels, I always said that at Forbes Marshall, we don't have a separate department
Hmm.
of corporate sustainability or a sustainability. We don't have a department. Sustainability is embedded in each of our team members, and I would not be able to present or talk of what I'm doing without their support backing me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just presenting what they are doing, right? As
Hmm.
a corporate sustainability person. So, bringing in the best learnings, and as per my role, it is done. But without their cooperation and support, this would not happen.
Yeah.
We have our whole core team, our directors, our leadership, our factory managers, our quality head, our R&D team, our facilities team. I hope I don't miss anyone out. But the whole supply chain head. So
Yeah.
the whole team, the leadership and the team, including the last, shop floor member, has
Yeah.
helped us throughout our journey.
Awesome. So if you were to give us a rating out of 5, how much would you rate us?
I cannot give it to you on my own. I have to give you. I have to consult with my team for that.
Thank you.
But I would say I would. I've always said that I would recommend you to companies
Yeah, yeah.
for this
Thank you.
exercise for sure.
Yeah, thank
For
you for
sure.
putting that trust in us, Preeti. So,
Mhm.
Preeti, let me move on to the next question. So, with India's ESG consulting market poised to double-digit growth, India's ESG and sustainability consulting market is projected to grow at around 13% annually through 2033. So, what type of consulting supports do you find most missing for companies like Forbes Marshall today?
I would say I wouldn't see internally, since we are also looking at our internal journey as of now,
Mhm.
and we are not listed, right? So we're not mandated for BRSR, but we are following that BRSR framework. Um, More than support, as a I would say, um, when you are doing a third party assessment of what you are, like for example, GBC is what we are doing right now.
Mhm.
uh, Certain of our buildings are being assessed for
Green
green
building.
building certifications. So these are the consultancies which should really help.
Mhm.
Actually, which goes to, if I may use a social development sector word, actually going to the grassroots, not superficial,
Right.
not as a checkbox, not as because you need these mandates, we'll give you these, not as that, and actually training the people to do it,
Mm.
build their capacities. The consultancies which help build the capacity of your principal employer will really help.
Yeah.
You know, not as a this thing, but and going to the grassroots, not as a superficial checkbox. कि BRSR ये है ये है. Okay, this is a leadership indicator. You don't need to focus on it right now. Not that, but how you can focus on it and work towards this is what we are looking
Yeah.
at,
Yeah.
right?
The honesty and sincerity of wanting to truly become sustainable has to be there, and then the
Yeah,
compliance would follow after. But one
that's my
thing that you
feel.
that you pointed out was the green building consulting around that, right? Do you see it lacking in the market presently, Preeti?
No, no, no. I think it is there, but you
Yeah.
need to find the right fit for you.
Fit. Yeah. Yeah. That is there.
There are many consultants, empaneled consultants who are there,
Yeah.
but you need to find the right fit.
Correct. Correct. So my last question to you for this podcast is, as someone who has lived and led sustainability from the inside, what's your vision for how Indian companies can shift from seeing sustainability as a cost center to recognizing it as a consulting revenue opportunity and competitive advantage?
I think difficult question to answer. It will need time, little to
To think on
introspect.
it.
But I'll just say that when more than consultancy, it should be an equal stakeholder.
Hmm.
I'm not so fond of the word consultant, but it should be an equal stakeholder even though he is named as a consultant, the
Hmm.
organization. And to bring the benefit, what are the, like I shared our journey with you, actually bringing in the social business benefits, actually creating a shared value around what you're doing, and how at the end of the day you're impacting climate. For example, we may also say that through our products, our customers are able to lower their carbon footprint,
Hmm.
right? So in a way, the products are also impacting the climate.
Right.
So how are we looking at our products is what we have to see internally. So even when you talk of consultancy, opportunities are going to be huge, but I feel actually they should be specialist. It should
Hmm.
not be an overall thing. It should be specialist. Like someone, carbon credits is something people are talking about now. In
Hmm.
India, it's not yet. I don't know whether you are a better person to tell me in India whether it has still achieved that spread what it should. But
Hmm.
this is something which we can look in. And when you look at it, there are many products projects which will come under the carbon credit. But how are
Yeah.
you funding those projects? What are the norms of that? So more awareness on nature-based solutions, more awareness on. I think ESG consulting is there. I feel because of BRSR, because of other stuff, and people like you also in the market. ESG consulting is there, but more is needed on nature-based solutioning. More
Yeah.
is needed on carbon credit, understanding the carbon credit market.
Hmm.
So I attended a very good conference last year by World Business Council on Sustainable Development, and one on CSR box, which they spoke on NBS. So it was an eye opener for me also. After
Hmm.
so many years in the industry, there are so many things I also don't know, Roshan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are the things which I feel need more consultants, if I may use the word.
Word.
I feel ESG is there because ESG, many proponents have who have retired or who left their organizations or something, they are support doing
Yeah.
ESG consultancy, right? And the big four is there and the others are there. But and you are there, like experts in this. But I feel NBS and waste management solutions, the we are hearing of plastic, right? How people are also dissolving plastic
Hmm.
and turning it into something else.
Yeah.
So that is innovation, of course. But I feel somewhere the nature-based solutions and this carbon credit is something which we should come. And ESG should be given to a company as a module, that what
Hmm.
can we do for your whole ESG. It should be ESG solutioning, right? It is a ESG solution to you. That is what should be looked at.
Right. Right. Thank you, Preeti. I mean, I think you have shared your perspective on multiple things today, right from touching upon your journey to the climate migration that we today face and the necessity for providing the the labor, that dignity, and the social security that is that they are that is necessary for them to sustain, survive. And also we looked at nature-based solution as one of the options for climate action. And then we looked at the thought leadership at Forbes Marshall, and then somewhere around consulting opportunities here in India. But the overall view, or rather the notion that you gave me is India is heading in the right direction, because if family business networks or family businesses are taking up sustainability so seriously, and given that the listed companies are already doing this because of compliance reasons, so both are heading in that direction. And for a company to leave behind a legacy which can sustain for years to come, I think sustainability is of paramount importance.
Yes.
So Preeti, it was a pleasure talking to you. And if you want to share in last few words before we wrap up.
Yeah, just thank you for inviting me to do this.
Pleasure.
I feel lots needs to be done in our space in sustainability, and lots needs to be, sharing of best practices needs to be done. What are companies doing separately?
Yeah.
CSR
Yeah.
sharing of best practices is there. Good
Hmm.
projects are there, NGOs are there. But even companies not looking at each other as competitors, but looking at actually how can you share your best practices of
Yeah.
sustainable innovations or sustainability practices with other companies is also something which we should be open to.
Yeah. We
And
view more as collaborators.
yeah, we have
Hmm.
a long, long, long way to go. India is
Absolutely.
talking of 2070.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much of I'll be alive till then or not. But even then, I feel we as industry, as people, individual social response is individual sustainability, if I may call. We
Yeah.
have a long way.
Yeah. But if the senior leadership or the core team takes sustainability as not as a compliance requirement, but rather as seeing it as one of the core pillar of
Value.
their operation, yeah, as a
Yeah.
value,
Yes.
perhaps
Yes.
everything will fall in place.
Yes.
So Preeti, thank you so much. It was
Thank
lovely
you.
having a chat. I think we've been talking for the last 60 minutes, or
Yes.
perhaps even a little more.
Then
If I mean the last few words for those who have listened to this podcast, you could reach out to Preeti on her LinkedIn profile. You can DM her perhaps, if I may take that liberty,
yes.
and
Yes.
you should definitely check out the Forbes Marshall page. Where you can find their products and the kind of work that they do in and around steam engineering. And Carbon Mandal is available for you to access at www.carbonmandal.com. And you could definitely reach out to us on LinkedIn as well. So thank you so much, Preeti.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thanks, Rosh.